Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we have a book club style discussion about a podcast we recommended at the end of the show last week. And at the end of this show, we're going to recommend a brand new one. And we're going to talk about that one next week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And this week we are talking about Kirk's recommendation from last week, Land of the Giants.
Land of the Giants by Vox Media. So I listened to the first two seasons of this show. One of the seasons is about Amazon, which is one of the ones the season we were talking about. And then there was another season about Netflix. And they just started another one about Google. So basically, they kind of break down the DNA of giant corporations that have just made such a huge, I guess, impact in our world and are now like ubiquitous. Because like Netflix, ubiquitous. Amazon, like who doesn't use Amazon? And then Google, every single person that has access to a computer uses Google for some reason or another, whether or not you love, Chrome or whatever, but everyone uses Google. Except for maybe Kelnick. I know he loves Bing a lot. But that's what this show is about. And we're talking about two specific episodes about Amazon. And so this is from season 1. And it's hosted by Jason Del Rey, and he's a senior correspondent at Recode. And he spent over 6 years reporting on Amazon and the e-commerce industry and how technology is transforming brick and mortar retail. So what do you think about the show, Zach?
I really like these types of shows because I think there's a ton to unpack here. I think that by starting a show where you're looking at some things that are being discussed in Congress right now, these things were part of presidential platforms over the past year. These things were hugely important at that level, even, on the antitrust side of things. But then also you have something that is so integral to one, just how Americans are buying things right now. And then two, even more so because of a pandemic. Because really, when you look at the impact that they've had during this, who has not ordered something off Amazon during the COVID pandemic? It has to be the vast majority of the US.
We don't live in a big city, so we're not able to do like the food delivery as easily. But dude, I bet you that not that many people are using the food delivery until this. I would love to see those numbers because I bet you the numbers have just skyrocketed since COVID. Because if I could avoid going to the grocery store and just pick everything out on Amazon, it sounds amazing.
Problem is I don't trust people to pick my produce for me, so I couldn't trust them on that. But grocery stuff, yeah, go ahead. They can pick it up for me. But yeah, I really like the show and how he kind of goes about it because, I guess we can kind of talk about each of the episodes independently. I'm trying to remember which one was first. It was Why You'll Never Quit Prime.
Yeah, I think that was, at least that's the one I wrote the notes on first, for sure, was Why You'll Never Quit Prime. And I thought it was a fascinating story as to how Prime started because it's kind of it's so commonplace now and so simple in a lot of ways, but it was so revolutionary, the idea of delivering something that quick.
Yes. I got my first one for free. I looked this up after I listened to this because I was like, how long have I been subscribed to Amazon Prime at this point? But I got into Amazon Prime in school because they would give you the free subscription.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I signed up. My first orders on Amazon Prime were for 2011. And it's essentially, I was getting it for free. I was like, hey, that's fine. I'll check this out. They didn't have a lot of the Prime Video and things like that. It was mostly just like free shipping and fast shipping. But that's when I got in there and I've never really stopped. They've continued to make it like more and more worth it. I would say that probably every year I've also hit that place where I made enough orders that if I were to pay for shipping for all of them, I would break through what Prime was. And that doesn't even count streaming and all the other random stuff you can do on there.
So, very easily. Twitch, now that they own Twitch, mixed in with all the other, perks that there are, pays for itself very quickly.
Yeah, it directly
in
does,
my consumption of it.
Yeah, my
least.
Prime sub always goes to us. So it's like that's worth it alone. but yeah, no, it's been a really long time that I've been using
Speaking
Amazon
of Prime
Prime.
subs, if you have Amazon Prime, you can Prime sub for our Twitch channel for free. You just use Bezos's money and give it to us.
Yep. Yeah, exactly that. And we talked to Jeff, and he's like, you know what? That's fine, guys. You can go for that. But yeah, it's crazy to think about how popular this is now.
Okay, I have a question. What is the last few things that you've ordered on Amazon? I'll give you mine because I probably didn't like prep you for that.
If you want to take a second, I'm going to try and type quietly.
Okay, so you look up what you have recently ordered. So I'm going to look up some.
I'm trying to decide if this is going to embarrass me by talking about it.
Don't talk about everything. I mean, I'm not saying everything that's on here because there's some things that I probably don't want to say on here. But
he's talking about the assless chaps.
Yes, that was number one. Those were arriving tomorrow. No, I got some chew toys for Normie. Chew toys for Normie. I think Leah has something coming up for school because there's a Greek. Oh, they're having a toga party in one of her classes, and so she has like a costume.
I mean, yeah, she's doing it much better than we did it. We literally just took like a blanket off one of our beds.
That's what I said, and she's like, "No," and Jenny's like, "No, she can't do that." And I'm like, why?
I mean, first of all, there is a chance that all the girls took it much more seriously than we did because there's 100% chance we're like, hey, a blanket will work, right? But they're like, no, this needs to look good.
Yeah, girls are a little different than we were, at least. I got some bike racks for my my garage. We have 4 bikes and they're just always in the way. So I got the ones you can like anchor on the wall and you can hang your bike up. It was like a 4-pack for like $20. Great price. And then, the penultimate thing or the ultimate thing, which is just body wash. Because I get most of my toiletries on Amazon now because I hate going to Walmart. And Publix toiletries are like 5 times the price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I get all my toiletries on Amazon.
Yeah. Most recent thing, basically every year I just do all my Christmas shopping through here. So that was the big one was in December. Most recent thing was Breath of the Wild for Nintendo Switch. But yeah, nice. No, I basically after Christmas, I'm like, okay, now you settle down until you pay off. Because I usually do their little finance. That's the thing is like now they have Amazon credit cards and Amazon financing and all of this stuff. So it's like its own thing completely. So it's wild. But yeah, most recent thing, Breath of the Wild. And before that, a lamp. Because I got a lamp for my bedside table that has a USB charger on it.
Ooh,
and nice. Is a touch lamp.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Are those a thing now again?
I mean, I don't think it ever totally went away. It doesn't look like a candelabra or anything, but it just like is a touch lamp, and you can like dim it because it's an LED light, so you can dim it so it's really like not bright, so you don't blast yourself first thing in the morning or when you wake up. It's great.
Nice,
highly recommended.
One of the things that kind of blew my mind is if I were to guess how many Prime subscribers there were, I would guess a lot, but I don't think that I would have guessed 100 million. That is so many.
Yeah, that's
Prime subscribers.
It's very impressive, honestly, to have that kind of market share with that. Because I guess it's the same as a streaming service. It's like $10 a month, or you can, I think it's like 12 or 13
bucks a year.
No, it's cheaper than that yearly. Like I think it's 120 a year if you do it per month, and it's like 110 if you do it for the whole year, something like that. But the price has gone up like 4 times in a row, type thing. Because they said it started at $79, and I think that's probably my first one. Because at some point they kicked me off of my student email, and they're like, "No, you cannot be on this anymore for free." So then I signed up.
And I do vaguely remember like Super Saver shipping, where it's like spend $20 and then you'll get free shipping, but that shipping is going to take 7 to 10 days, and it sounded great at the time. It's so funny looking back. It's like if I order something and it doesn't have the Prime next to it and I'm not going to get it in the next 3 days, I'm like, well, I don't want to get this.
We've gotten spoiled.
Oh, we're so spoiled.
Amazon has ruined our brains because we're like, wait, I ordered this offline and it's not here tomorrow. What is
Yeah.
this garbage? Terrible service. No, but like we also live very close to a couple Amazon fulfillment centers. So there's a lot of stuff you can get same day. You
Yeah.
order it and they'll bring it to you just like, okay, here you go. So it's crazy the logistics they've built, and it's crazy how used to having Amazon and having Amazon Prime has gotten.
In this series, they do an episode that we didn't talk about here, but they talk about when Amazon leaves your community, because at first, before Prime, Amazon's MO they would go to the middle of nowhere, like these small towns, and build or buy a giant warehouse when it was mainly books and stuff. And it was cheaper. They could, the workforce was there. They could get everyone in that community to come work for them. And they wanted it to be far away because shipping wasn't a deal. Now they pivoted to they want smaller shipping places everywhere, and specifically near densely populated areas rather than in the middle of nowhere. So they moved from those places. And it's a crazy story about like all these places that literally the whole town worked at an Amazon warehouse, and then the Amazon warehouse closed down and everyone lost their jobs. It's one of those things. It's like it's a double-edged sword. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's so powerful, and we've gotten spoiled because of it. But also at the same time, it's like, should it have that much power? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of the key tenets of like capitalism is that's the thing you have to watch out for is monopoly, where there's no competition anymore, and that's where I honestly think that I liked the angle of the "Is Amazon too big?" segment even more, because his angle was there. You can read a lot of stuff about what politicians think or what a bunch of people think, but he wanted to find out if they were too big by talking to the retailers who sell on Amazon, to have essentially an understanding of how people who are trying to use this as a marketplace are interacting with Amazon as a reseller, essentially. And it gets so interesting because it sounds a lot like, because I'd always heard these like horror stories of how Walmart would do things where they would get you so big on just the Walmart contract that you had to do whatever they said, and then they would cut how much they were paying you and you couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, because like Walmart, like, okay, if you're making, let's say, I'm just going to make something up. You're making yogurt, okay? You're making yogurt, and you've been just fulfilling your little mom and pop shops, and then all of a sudden Walmart's like, we'll carry your product. Like, okay, well, how many do you need? I usually make 100,000 cups of yogurt a month. They're like, oh, we need 3 million. So then you go and you freaking make this giant warehouse and all this stuff. And then once you start pumping out the yogurt, they're like, all right, remember that agreement that we made with how much money that we're going to pay you? Now we're going to pay you less. And then you're like, but wait, now I have this giant warehouse where I'm making all of this stuff and all these people, and I've invested so much. So I guess that I have to, because if I lose Walmart, then what do I do? And yeah,
there's a lot of
weird.
There's a lot of similarities there, aside from pumping out the yogurt. I mean, I don't
like that.
I'm really glad you said it, but I don't know that necessarily you can sell yogurt very easily on Amazon, but similar.
No, I was talking about Walmart.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying it's similar, but no yogurt.
I'm gonna look on Amazon if there's yogurt. I picture there's yogurt.
There probably is. Why not?
I'm just messing with you. I know there's yogurt.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it from Whole Foods or something now. That's the thing. They've also bought Whole Foods. So
crazy.
Yeah, no, and their basics line is definitely something that is talked about in this episode, because they kind of start with somebody who is
he's selling toys.
Yeah, and he was skeptical to even have this conversation, and that that tells you something.
In terms of service, yes, that is not not okay.
If you can't criticize the seller, that's potentially an issue.
So when you sign the terms of service to be able to sell on Amazon, you specifically say that you will not talk to the press about the workings of how it is to be a seller on Amazon, which is real shady. Like, that's shady in my opinion.
It's not great, because it's implying something. You know what I mean? If you ran the company in a way where there's no reason for them to complain, then you wouldn't have to have that policy. I guess they have it probably as a cover your butt move too, to be fair. But yeah, they talked to someone who is a toy seller, and he sounded skeptical about even voicing his concerns because, yeah, you have concerns, but Amazon is still Amazon. Billions and billions of dollars a year are through there. And so it is detrimental for whatever you're selling to not be there. So it's crazy to hear that.
Him, like, how long would your toys that you sell be viable, your business be viable if you were to lose Amazon? And he said, maybe 30 seconds. Because like, you can't sell toys in America unless you're selling them on Amazon. And I thought about it and I'm like, holy cow, there's no toy stores anymore. There's just Walmart and Amazon. That's like it.
Yeah.
Like, where else can you buy toys? There's not even like a Toys R Us anymore. It's like,
no, they went bankrupt.
It's just Walmart and Amazon where you can buy toys. And that I hadn't even thought about it until he mentioned that. And Target. You're right. Target. Target.
Yeah, no, but it really is crazy that I think that these are good questions to ask. It's a good thing to explore whether they've gotten too big. And I just loved how he approached it, because then he also talked to a rep from Samsonite. And this is on that kind of Amazon basics line issue, because Samsonite luggage has always been, I think, a pretty good like marketplace for people. I think that there's always been a lot of money in selling luggage. People are always getting new stuff. They're buying sets. It's pretty expensive. And the premise that he was talking about is they literally can rip your design and produce it cheaper. And maybe the most interesting thing for me to think about here is if this was pure exploitation, if they weren't at all concerned with losing all their vendors, they could see that you wanted to go to a Samsonite luggage and they'd be like, you know what? We saw you wanted to go to Samsonite luggage, but look at this. It's exactly like this. It's so much cheaper and we'll send it to you 5 days quicker. And they can essentially use the information that they've gathered from their retailers that they have on their service and actively go against them and ruin what they're doing.
Yeah. And they do over and over. And like Josh said in the chat, they talk about in this episode about the analytics, because supposedly didn't they have a rep that said that they don't actually do that? But
yes,
there's no way they
don't.
No,
he played word games on it.
It felt like a political answer. You know, it's like saying they don't in a way that doesn't actually say they don't. What kind of business wouldn't look at the analytics and see what's selling the best? What's the best margin product that we can then knock off in our own thing, not pay advertising for, and do it on the platform people are already coming to look for it? And that's exactly what they were talking about with the basics as well as the advertising. The advertising thing was crazy to me because like the toy guy, what he has like a Lego brand thing basically. It was like a Lego knockoff kind of thing he's called it Brain Flakes or something. And for them to keep the search term, the exact words, Brain Flakes, to bring up their product, they have to pay, he said it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Because if they don't, Lego would come up first because Lego pays more. Yeah. So it's, and you're talking the exact wording. It's like when we first got on Spotify as the Podcast Discovery Show, and we would search our show, and the first show that came up was a show about Discovery, the Star Trek
show.
Star Trek Discovery. I was like, wait, I put everything right. And we were just new. So we were way at the bottom of our own search. It's the same thing with Amazon. But that's just, it's mind blowing.
Yeah. And all of these things are just so interesting to think about because we all use Amazon all the time. And so it's just like understanding the inner workings of the devil we've done a deal with essentially here. And so, because first of all, regardless of, okay, there's things they're doing wrong. Yes, fine. But the logistics they've created is mind blowing. Like they have essentially gone from being a college bookstore to being essentially UPS, FedEx, Walmart,
It's
Whole
crazy.
Foods, all of these things combined into one gigantic corporation that's international and just at a crazy level. So
It is crazy.
this is not going to be a conversation that ends soon. This is going to be a conversation that goes on for a long time because Amazon got much larger last year. So it's just, I loved the show. I loved how they approached everything, and you kind of get to learn while you're hearing like direct first person accounts of working with them. And I just thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing.
And there's other episodes in this same series about Amazon where they talk about, like, should Amazon be broken up into smaller corporations? Because they talk about, what is it, AWS, the cloud service?
Yeah.
We think, okay, we've been talking about the online service and stuff like that this whole time. I didn't even realize
that every
how
website's
much,
on AWS.
I did not even realize how much of a monopoly Amazon has over every single
the whole
cloud
internet
service anywhere.
No, and web hosting. The
It's
vast majority of things you go to
mind-boggling.
are hosted on AWS.
Okay, for regular people that are listening to this, I forget the numbers, but they make like double on AWS as they do on all of the stuff that anyone buys on Amazon. It's like an insane amount of money.
No, and they just made like recent news with everything with Parlor. That's where Parlor was hosted. And so, okay, this is not meant to be a political statement of any kind. What I'm saying is, regardless of how you feel about Parlor or how you feel about Amazon, you have to think about the ability for one organization to choose to not, to like erase your presence online for reasons. And I mean, they did this whole thing. All of this was very highly explored because I think they were sued. I think Parler sued AWS for kicking them off of AWS. But the thing is, I don't think there's a problem with kicking someone off of a pay, like an elected service. The problem is
Agreed.
there's not really there's no competitor.
Exactly.
There's no alternative. And so then you're dealing with a different issue than, okay, do people have a right to have a terms of service on their product? Yeah, sure. That's fine. People have elected to use it. Is there competition is also a key tenet of if somebody has a monopoly, and there's not anything like AWS. So it's just, we're in a new world dealing with new things. We have new problems that have never been explored at this level, because when you think about just the impact that Amazon has with everything they do, well, we'll have to see, but it's, in general, this podcast is great though. So if you'd like to learn more stuff about all of this stuff with Amazon and then dig into other huge corporations.
Yeah, like I said, they did the whole series on Amazon. They did one on Netflix, which I listened to that one. It was great. Man, that one was fascinating. And they just started one on Google. I think they're halfway through, and I haven't listened to that one yet, but
Google is going to be, because Netflix is impressive and it was revolutionary and like a game changer on media, but Google and Amazon are different. That is like deeply embedded into the fabric of life at this point, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to continue being it, but yeah, it was a great recommendation.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you liked it. And that brings us to next week's recommendation. What do you got, Zach?
This is one that I think both you and I have circled around a little bit, because this is one that it's a very popular show. It gets recommended a lot, but it's kind of different. This week, I'm going to recommend The Dollop, which is two comedians, and one comedian comes in with an entire story about something amazing from history, and he tells it to his unsuspecting friend.
Oh, I see. This is the one that it's like comedians and they talk about kind of a little bit of history, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely is like that, but it's funny. It's really funny.
There's a few of these that I was listening to all at the same time, where it was like comedians and stuff, and I didn't remember which one this was.
Definitely explicit, but yeah, it's definitely a history-ish podcast. Usually it's more like obscure stuff. So I'm trying to decide how much of this to even reveal to you. Okay, I'm going to just leave it fairly simple. This one is called Man Cy Devry, and that's spelled Cydevry. And it is about an early 1900s zoo owner that was very early 1900s. And like he considered himself a scientist because he would punch a lion in the face. So just that's all I'll say about that. The story gets more and more ridiculous throughout. I've never really heard anything like this. I don't know how there's not like a fake movie about this guy, but I couldn't stop listening. It's really funny. You learn a ton about the weirdest, like his zoos are a little, they're having complications in general about like how much should we have zoos and everything. And then you get to,
I can only imagine the beginning of zoos.
1904 zoos. Like it's got
ridiculous.
There's nothing good about that. Like we can have a conversation about how animals should be treated right now. And that's one thing. They were not having that conversation in 1904. They did not care. Like there was no cares at all. So it is a wild listen. This is one of the craziest stories I've heard about a person in a really long time.
Awesome. So it's the Dollop Zoo Man? Cy Devry?
Yeah, Zoo Man Cy Devry.
Zoo Man! Sorry, I'm visualizing like a superhero.
I mean,
probably not.
It's more like Tiger King.
Maybe a super villain?
Yeah, it's more like Tiger King. There we go. Like a superhero.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. And remember,
there's always more to discover.
Thank you for listening to the Podcast Discovery Show. We would love for you to get in touch. We have a Facebook group called the Podcast Discovery Club, and our Twitter is @thepdsofficial. We also record the show live every Friday night at 8 o'clock on Twitch. We would love for you to be part of the show while we're recording it.
If you want to support the show, we have a number of ways you can do that. From our Patreon to our affiliate links, they're always linked in the show notes. In the end, you support the show just by listening, and it means the world to us. So thank you so much for being a part of our journey. You've been listening to a podcast of the Podfix Network. Discover more audible gems like this at podfixnetwork.com. Make sure to catch up-to-the-minute network shenanigans by following @Podfix on Twitter, official_Podfix on Instagram, @Podfix Network on Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to Podfix Presents wherever you choose to find podcasts. The Podfix Network, artist owned and loved.